Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody. This podcast proudly presents to you the zero-time tag team champions of the world, the Road Dogg, JJ Brownlee, the Badass, JB Faulkner, Total Spotfest Live, with the ninth wonder of the world, Nick.
And welcome back to Total Spotfest Live. I am JJ Brownlee, and with me, as he is at least twice a week, this week a lot more, is my co-host, the NXT champion of Total Spotfest, Mr. Jamie Faulkner.
What's up, WWE marks?
And if you don't know what we're talking about, we'll get to it in a second. But we are joined by another man, a very special man. So special, we don't even have anything witty to say about him. He is the ninth wonder of the world, Nick.
You know, I was practicing my Nigerian accent to
God.
say hello to begin, and then I'm like, nah, we'll leave it.
Now, your skin's a little too pale to pull that off and have
They'll
it
never
be.
buy it.
Yeah. We're going from slightly racially insensitive to straight on the no list. So thank you guys.
You probably just sound like Simple Jack.
What do you mean, you people? What do you mean, you people? All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. This is our WrestleMania 37 special. We're going to be covering all things WrestleMania, the return of fans to WWE. And we'll get into at the end of this, we'll get into our overall ratings. But as a quick spoiler alert, it's great to have fans back at a live event. Mm-hmm. Truly is. So if you are watching us on YouTube or listening to us on your favorite podcast stations, thank you. We did release today as well a separate NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver review. Please give that a listen if you haven't already. We're going to focus everything on WrestleMania in this show. So that is going to include Friday Night Smackdown, because it was a WrestleMania Smackdown, and I have a word to say about that when we get near the end here. But we'll be talking about Smackdown from this past week, as well as Night 1 and Night 2. If you are watching us on YouTube, we thank you. Like I said, always, please give it a subscribe if you like what you hear. Give us a comment. Give us a like. If you're on your favorite podcast station, thank you very much. We would appreciate if you enjoy the content to give us a rating. Let us know how we're doing. Join the conversation. You can holler at us on Twitter with that is at Total Spotfest. And mine and Jamie's personal Twitters, as always, are listed below our names. Nick, as you know, is antisocial and doesn't like social media. So, that's
It's for the best. Trust me.
It really is for the betterment of our society. So let's not dilly-dally along. Let's get right into it. So we are going to start with Smackdown from this past Friday, because it was a WrestleMania Smackdown. What did that mean? Well, that meant that they're trying to cut the time down on WrestleMania this weekend, and they moved a couple matches that are, whatever matches to SmackDown. So there was the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. It was a fatal four-way. Mm-hmm. WWE likes to pick and choose when to, make rules for their tag team, multiple team matches, right? So this is the variant where two teams at a time were in, instead of having a member from each team in. Even though like a week earlier, or not even that, actually 2 nights earlier on NXT is a triple threat tag team match where a member from each of the 3 teams was in the. Make up your mind. Anyway.
So it was like a tag team gauntlet match?
No, all 4 teams were there, but only 2 men were in the ring at a time. But you could tag any of the 4 teams. It was that. Is that flavor,
that style. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's like they, there's no consistency. It's either one or. And to me, it's always just confusing. I'm like, okay, which variant are we doing here? It is whatever. The match itself was the champions, Roode and Ziggler, the Dirty Dogs, versus Street Profits, versus the Alpha Academy for the Academy. That's their new saying. It's stupid. And versus the Mysterios. That match was okay. It was, it wasn't an extremely long match. There was a few spots that were cool, but it ended up that Ziggler and Roode retained. So
really?
There's that.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought for sure the Street Profits were going to get it back. I legitimately did. If it had been at WrestleMania on a pre-show or whatever, it probably would have been Street Profits. That's my guess.
Street Profits are getting hosed. We'll leave it at that.
Well, in a manner speaking, they are front and center in everything WWE marketing related. So, I mean, their paychecks or their bank accounts don't seem to mind.
Yeah. They're getting paid, fam.
This show was chock full of this is like your prototype go home show WWE style. This is pre-taped a week earlier, as a matter of fact. Like this didn't happen live. None of this happened live. And promo. They're previewing Raw feuds. They're previewing everything WrestleMania. There really was just 3 matches. There was a Nia Jackson Tamina match. More stuff setting up for the tag team, women's tag team gauntlet stuff, and Tamina ended up getting the win. So that's cool and all. And then they had the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. We already teased this previously because this was our tiebreaker for the tie between myself and Jamie. We do, if you have not been listening to us, we do picks for the big pay-per-views for WWE, the takeovers for NXT, and the AEW pay-per-views. And we decided to bring that into our podcast, bring you guys along for this, kind of show it off a little bit. We're going to keep record. You're going to see down below, there's that box there down below our faces if you're on YouTube. If you're listening along on your podcast channel, we're going to keep you updated. But we will update it as the night goes. And the winner of this of our picks for the night for WrestleMania will be the WWE Total Spotfest Live champion, and we have a child replica belt Jamie's holding up if you're not watching.
It's even the
us.
old one. It's the
it is the
quasi-attitude-y one.
It's like the first post-spinner WWE, but still, it's a child replica belt that we have. We have a child replica belt for each of them, but we physically pass that along. Bragging rights ensued and all that. So we came to a tie on our takeover review. Jimmy and myself were dead even at the end of it. So our tiebreaker was we each pick a man, and if they won the battle royal, they would be that would be your tiebreaker. Now we had to go to our third pick because, by the way, if neither of our picks won, whoever's pick lasted longer would be the tiebreaker. So our first choice was both Shinsuke Nakamura. Our second choice was both Jey Uso. So we had to go to our third pick, where I chose Ricochet. I know for guys getting buried, that's a risky pick, but he's just great in these matches. And Jamie chose King Corbin, who had won this in a previous WrestleMania. But he's also good. He's also good in these matches. So it ended up being that we were pretty good in all of our picks because it came down. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Came down to the final 4 was Ricochet, Jey Uso, King Corbin, and Shinsuke Nakamura. So, hey, we must know a thing or two about wrestling, right? Yeah. Well, right away, we got to the final 4. King Corbin eliminated Ricochet, which means that Jamie is your NXT Total Spotfest Live champion.
That was very poetic, too, because he got me the win by eliminating your guy.
It wasn't even that Uso eliminated Rick. It was Corbin. So anyway, it doubly hurt. The closest I've been to getting a victory in God knows how long, but whatever. Corbin is a Kansas City guy, so I can't be too upset. Shout out to
He's our favorite son.
Sure.
No.
Sure, I'm not going to go there, but
okay.
I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah. I do love me some Corbin, no matter how unpopular opinion that is. I still love Corbin. And then Corbin got eliminated, and they came down to Nakamura and Uso. A little flurry at the end. Uso ended up getting the victory, getting his name etched on the ridiculously large trophy. So that was the WrestleMania Smackdown, okay? And then that leads us into WrestleMania. So Jamie's going to walk us through night 1. As you see below, we got 0 showing on the board for the 3 of us and Jamie's 14-year-old daughter, Megan, who, if you have not heard us in the past, just destroys us in picks all the time. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, so before we start, she is currently the reigning, defending, undisputed WWE pay-per-view champion.
Yep, she had all 3, but last night, takeover, whenever, you dethroned her. So she has just now the AEW and WWE belts. So she is the current defending champion. But let's see how they go. You follow along. We'll give you updates for those of you listening to us and not watching. I'll be back to lead through night 2, but Jamie's going to lead us through night 1. Jamie, why don't you start us off?
All right. Actually, I'm glad I did night 1 because I honestly think it was the better of the 2 nights personally.
Me too.
So it started off with not the match I was expecting. So
hold on a second. Before you get to it, are you going to say about the very, 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 very beginning of the word from Mr.
Oh, yes. So
I thought that was nice. I legitimately did.
Yeah. So Mr. Vincent Kennedy McMahon came out and
with the whole roster on the stage, socially distanced too. Amazingly enough,
which I thought that was kind of
which is interesting considering how bad at bucking like COVID protocols WWE has been for the past year. But anywho,
yeah. So basically, he came out and just thanked everybody for being there, and we can't do this without the fans. Like they were sucking up to the fans as they should.
It was a nice moment. It was a
great
McMahon
moment.
occasionally pulls a good moment out, and this was one of them.
Yeah, he's not always a dick. This is one of those times he was not. Then also, it was also reported earlier today that the main event for night 1 was going to be Sasha and Bianca Belair. That was announced earlier in the day by Stephanie Kennedy McMahon.
Which I thought they already told us that before, but they had to reiterate it, which I thought was weird.
Yeah, they had to make a big to-do out of it. Yeah.
All right. And then you had America the Beautiful by BB Rexa, which, my God, like what she was wearing was made just for Vince McMahon, I swear. It was all cleavage. It was okay, we're back to WWE as I know it. Fans and boobs.
Yep. Gotta give Vince what he wants, right? All right, so it started off with, like I was saying, the match I didn't think I was gonna get right away. I honestly thought I was gonna get Cesaro and Seth Rollins because typically Seth Rollins kicks off pretty much every freaking pay-per-view. So this was a nice change of pace. So we started off with the WWE Championship match of the almighty Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre.
I did not see this as the lead off. I did not see this number 1.
You have 2 big dudes going head to head. Typically you don't have the big dudes going at it because big dude matches typically don't do well. You know what I'm saying? Well,
right.
This one did.
Wow.
It was really damn good. But before I go into any kind of detail on it, this is who we picked. For this match, it was JJ picked Drew McIntyre, and then the rest of us picked Bobby Lashley. The almighty Bobby Lashley. So before we get into it, I wanted to make sure everybody knew that's where we are. So, like I was saying, this match was actually really, really damn good. Those two beat the bloody piss out of each other. That's probably the best way I could describe this match.
There was no really holding back either. They did all the spots that they have, and Lashley's been on fire lately, but this was the most complete match I think he's had in the last 6 months, maybe. I mean, it was great.
Yeah, I mean, just to give you an idea, McIntyre hit the Future Shock DDT not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row before he even went for a pin because he knew it was going to be that difficult of a match.
He did three. He did the Three Amigos or the three.
Yeah,
is that what it is? The Three Amigos style?
Yeah,
what? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like the Eddie Guerrero did it, held it, rolled over, did it again. I was like, nice, and he was vocal to McIntyre. It was great.
Yeah, and then Lashley was able to kick out too. Then McIntyre setting him for the Claymore. Lashley was able to roll out. Then Lashley tried to put a hurt lock. This is all that was going on right at this very. There's a lot going on in this match. I'm just kind of getting some of the bigger highlights.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But one of the things too was McIntyre managed to force Lashley into a turnbuckle and locking him into Kimura. And he injured his arm. He totally sold the arm thing, which I really appreciated. The fact for once, Bobby Lashley was selling, ladies and gentlemen. He was
It's a man who hasn't sold and you never sold it in TNA. You never it doesn't sell for. He sold, and he sold a lot. He sold well.
Yeah, and then after that, Game Talk. After that, McIntyre was going to go for another Claymore, but was distracted by MVP. That allowed Lashley to duck underneath. Then he was able to get the hurt lock on him and made McIntyre pass out because McIntyre did not tap.
No tap.
No
Did
tappy
not
tappy.
tap.
So Bobby Lashley retained. Killer match, really physical. It looked stiff as hell. Those two guys went. Bobby Lashley sold. I'm tickled pink with this one, and also I'm on the board with one. Same with Nick and Megan.
The more important bit, right?
Yes.
The more important bit there. Well, I mean, and here's my thought as it started off, kind of got going. By the way, I just want to throw this out there. I did notice almost immediately there was a pink MJF shirt in the front row, right across from where the camera was.
So did I.
That was
the
fair.
better
That
than
was
you shirt.
great.
I loved
great.
it.
That was great.
Yeah.
But I think this is a great way because when you think about everything that started off with the beginning of WrestleMania, there. By the way, we didn't even talk. There was a half hour of weather delay because of lightning in the area, which is ironic as hell. And of course, it would happen, right? Mm-hmm. But you had the heartfelt message from Vince McMahon and do all this. You finally have fans back. Then they have a weather delay where they're trying to keep everybody entertained, and they come out with a match you don't expect to start, and they just go straight for it, and it's just a balls to the wall, great match to start off the pay-per-view. I appreciate that. I think that might have had some thought into why it was first too. They're like, let's give them a banger right from the start, just so that we can start off on the right foot, right?
Yeah,
that's my thought.
Yeah, because then right after that was, it was the women's tag team turmoil match. Yeah, this one was not that good. Naomi and Lana.
Wasn't terrible.
It was not that good. There's one highlight for me in the whole thing, just one.
Just go for it.
Okay, so Naomi and Lana versus Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke versus Natalya and Tamina versus the Riot Squad and versus Carmella and Billie Kay.
And somebody made a bold prediction, a hot take a week ago. Do you remember what that was, Jamie?
Yes, they would be in it and they would win it.
No. What was your actual prediction that you said on our podcast last week about Billie Kay?
The Iconics. Yeah, the Iconics.
Yeah, you called the Iconics and that. Nope, no Iconics. No. I told you it wasn't going to happen, so you were wrong.
Yeah, fair. So the big moment for me on this was
picks.
Oh, sorry.
Picks.
Yes.
Picks.
Sorry, gentlemen.
I did this on Takeover like twice, so it's okay.
So for this one, we picked the Riot Squad was JJ and Megan.
That's no surprise if you listen to this podcast at all. Hey, Ruby.
And then Nick had Natalya and Tamina, and I had Carmella and Billie Kay.
All right.
So there's that. So my big highlight for this one was when Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke were coming to the ring. Mandy Rose slipped and totally bit it.
Poor thing. Poor thing.
It was the first half of WrestleMania, everything was still wet as all hell, and it rained pretty much through the first half of the show. So.
But the funny thing is for me though is Randy Orton kind of made fun of it when he came out on night 2, which I appreciated the hell out of it. All right, so lots of going on. I'm just gonna kind of get to the end here. Natalya and Tamina won.
Go through. Yeah, go through the progression, though. So, because it started off Lana and Naomi, but Carmella and Billie Kay.
Yeah.
That was short. That was whatever. Billie Kay and Carmella won with an assisted pin. Whatever. Mm-hmm. And then the Riot Squad came out, which made me feel bad because you have a 5-person team. You want to be in that 4 spot. The last 2 are those are the hot spots, so I didn't feel good about that. But I got to say, and I know I'm biased. Everybody knows I got a crush on Ruby. Hey, Ruby. But they looked good. We haven't seen them actually wrestle in a hot minute for whatever reason. They looked good. They had a cool. They had a cool new finisher where it was like a code breaker that Liz does, and then she holds it, and then Ruby does a senton onto the person while they're on the knees. That's a new finisher, and I thought that was pretty cool. They used that to beat Billy and Carmella. They end up beating Mandy and Dana, and then Natalya and Tamina. They pulled in all like the signature spots, to placate to their fathers, basically. And
like Natalya and Tamina hit a heart attack, which was the Heart Foundation finisher, which that was a nice call. And then Tamina goes up for the big splash. There's a sharpshooter in there. Like, there's all sorts of stuff. There's all sorts of good stuff. But Tamina and Natalya win. So give another point to Mr. Nicholas, our young boy. So he is in the lead right now.
Young boy with the forethought. Yeah. I said that like 3 weeks ago. I was like, I know Riot Squad's not going to win. It's going to be Natalya and Tamina. And I should have listened to myself because.
You know what, though? I picked him for the very reason Jamie just laid out. It's WrestleMania. You got to go with the vintage.
Yeah, you got to go with what
picks.
Vince thinks. Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
It was fine. It was short.
All right.
I'm not gonna dwell. But
Yeah,
go for it.
No need.
Whatever.
No
Okay.
need.
It is what it is.
So this arguably could have been it was going to be the match of the night until later. But it was damn good. The next match which was Cesaro versus Seth Rollins.
Ooh.
It was it was everything you expect because both those gentlemen can go. So we were completely split on this one. JJ and I both picked Cesaro, and Nick and Megan went with Seth Rollins. So that was nice. So we are completely split on this one. And, man, it was a doozy. Like, it was not a doozer.
This was so much better than I was. Like I keep saying, you hear me say this a lot for these two nights. This was so much better than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Like, really. It was what I expect Cesaro and Seth Rollins to be, what I want it to be, and not what what I envision it should be, rather than what we usually get from it because the Bruce Pritchard and WWE whatever production. It was good. It was great.
Yeah. I have no complaints about this match. We got to see a Cesaro swing. You know how many times he swung him?
There's two different Cesaro things, but yes.
Yes. So there's one, and then there's the second one.
Yeah, the second one was great.
23 times swung him around. 23 circles around the earth, around the worlds, whatever you want to call it. He hit 23 of them bad boys. Yeah. One of my favorite things, and I have never, ever, 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 ever seen Seth Rollins do this.
Okay, go ahead.
The barrel roll splash. Have you ever seen him do
Yeah.
that?
No, I haven't.
It
I
was
have not.
beautiful. They call it like whatever his dumbass was calling it, Michael Cole, twisting splash. I'm like, dude, that's a barrel roll, bro. But yeah.
Yeah, apparently Tom Phillips is like leaving the company because you had Michael Cole on all commentary over both nights.
Yeah, and did you also notice that Jerry the King Lawler was on for some of it as well?
Well, and JBL as well. They always have they have guest announcers, but I'm talking like your main play-by-play guy. Like they usually split it between Phillips and but because apparently Phillips is on his way out. They're gonna have a new guy tomorrow night or tonight if you're listening to this on Raw. That's what I read earlier today. But whatever. But yeah, it was all Michael Cole, and Michael Cole, whatever.
I can't say Michael Cole. I'm right there with Bailey.
I loved. Get back to the match though. I hadn't really seen it. The UFO that Cesaro does.
Yes.
UFO was cool.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
That was very cool.
Yes, that's where I was getting ready to go. So
okay.
So Rollins, Cesaro went for a neutralizer, but then Rollins countered it into a pedigree. Rollins went for the stomp, but Cesaro popped up, hit a big European uppercut. I mean, it was beautiful. I love his European uppercuts. Then he went, and then before that, went for the hands-free spin variation of the UFO, like right after that.
Puts his hand on his hips. It's like, oh, it's so good looking.
Yeah, it was really damn cool. And then he followed up with a 23 spin swing. That was right after that. It's like bam, bam. Then he goes into the neutral count, the neutralizer. 1, 2, 3. Our winner, not only of the match but of our hearts, Cesaro.
Cesaro's section is alive and well in 2021.
I want that guy to get a big ass push. He deserves it.
He
phenomenal
definitely
wrestler.
deserves it.
So damn good. So if you're counting at home, that means I am back on the board, tied at 2. So is JJ at this point. JJ, yeah, you got 2. I got 2. Megan's only got 1, and Nick's got 2.
I have 1 right now.
Oh, 1.
Actually,
I'm
this is me finally getting on the
You're
board.
on the board.
I am finally on the board. I'm the one of the 3 of us who watches probably more WWE is in dead last right now, but that's okay. We got plenty of matches to get there.
So the next match, I'm stupid because I should have seen this coming a mile
Join
away.
the club. Join the club.
It pissed me off that I did not see this. So it was the Raw Tag Team Championship match of the New Day versus AJ and Omos. It's Omos. I'll make sure you get that.
I'm still going to butcher that. I'm sorry. It's 4 letters and I'll butcher it, but it's okay.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So again, 3 out of the 4 of us picked New Day, and Nick is the only one who did not, and he went with AJ and Omos. So this match, it kind of sucked, but it was kind of good. It had some good pieces, but towards the end, it got really dumb. That's what happened.
I'm glad it was short.
Yes. Yeah, so Kofi Kingston and
Xavier Woods.
thank you, Xavier Woods. I almost called him Constance Creed for some reason.
Consequences Queen,
Yeah.
which is technically correct.
Yeah, so anyway, they come out. They both have like little mohawk things going on, and I love it. Like they came out looking good. They got introduced. Biggie introduced them, and that made me like, oh yeah, the band is back together, baby. But it was just
yeah.
because Biggie could have really used them. But you know what else? Anyway. So the match started off pretty hot, actually. Kingston got an early advantage, began taunting Omos, playing mind games with the giant guy, just messing with him a little bit. The New Day held the advantage on Styles. They really did a good job on Styles. They were able to cut off half the ring, that old school tag team wrestling, because they don't want to get Omos in there. They were really trying to work on AJ, and I really, really enjoyed that because they were able to stay away from the big guy, because once the big guy comes in, everybody knows it's gonna go down, right? So after being dominated for a while, Styles was finally able to get away and got to Omos, and that's when shit got weird. Okay, it was just
well, he's wearing street clothes for one.
Street clothes. Well, he had spandex that had buttons on it.
And his pants were like not like slacks, but they were slacks. They had an Omos logo on the back pocket, but he very much had loafers on. Now, granted, at one point in time, you see his loafer next to Kofi Kingston. His foot goes across Kingston's chest, like armpit to armpit. So whatever, but it was odd. He comes out in what appears to be street clothes. It was mostly whatever.
He no sells. He no sells.
His first match.
He should at least sell something.
Let's just. I just want to put a pin there to let you get everybody. This is his first match.
Yeah. So
at WrestleMania for a title.
Yeah, which I disdain that the guy's first match of all time is at WrestleMania. It has never worked out for anybody that I know of. If you know of somebody that their first match was at WrestleMania and they had great careers, tweet me.
Nicholas.
Yes.
Nicholas was Braun Strowman's tag team partner when they won the titles. The 14-year-old kid he picked out of the crowd.
Yeah, well, I said great careers.
I thought you were addressing me. I'm like, yes, JJ.
Oh no,
not young.
He's only 16 by now. He might be chewing up. I'm not serious.
Yeah, so this match, whatever. After that, Omos no sold and just beat the hell out of the New Day. You have new Raw Tag Team Champions of AJ Styles and Omos. Congratulations. Yeah, I mean, I love me some AJ, and I'm happy for him. It's just
he's a Grand Slam champion now.
Yep. This is his partner.
It is weird.
It's weird. He's not the worst wrestler we've ever seen in the ring. He's not by far, though, far from that. Let's be honest. But once again, his first match ever. It's not fair that first match ever is for a title at WrestleMania that he wins.
Yeah.
He's a 1-0 champion. It's like, okay, come on, you know. But I thought AJ did the part with AJ was good. The part with the new, I mean, I'm glad it wasn't a long match.
Yeah, it was.
Did you guys catch AJ
was
slipping
all
at the
right.
beginning too?
Yeah,
Yeah, he about lost his foot.
there was quite a few of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have our next match.
Oh God.
It was a cage match. I'm sorry. I gotta be excited about this. It was a cage match between Shane McMahon and Braun Strowman. So, all of us picked Braun.
We're not stupid.
Yeah, we are not stupid, and neither is Braun, evidently, because Braun won. Because obviously that was going to happen, but it was so dumb. Before he got in there, Jackson Riker and Elias tried to attack him, worked his leg, and he half sold it for like 2 minutes, maybe 2 minutes, and then it was all fine. It was just not good. The big spot of the whole thing was Shane was actually, working over the chair or whatever, and then he was able to get out, and he stuck his hand through because, that wasn't obvious to say, goodbye, you suck. And then Braun comes flying up there, grabs his arm, and then he rips out a piece of the cage, the fencing, and then reached around, grabbed Shane, yanked him back in. Then they got up on the top right after that, because that was the obvious next location. And then big spot Shane had to do a big spot, and he got tossed off the top of the cage onto the ring, onto his back. Braun goes in there, does a big power slam, 1, 2, 3, game over.
I mean, it's WrestleMania. You gotta have Shane almost try to kill himself off of something very big and stupid. So yep, he did. He did. He did the whole thing, like barely making it on the whole cross country thing where he does like the jump across. It's like, Shane, stop wrestling.
Thank
Stop.
you. Yes.
Frickin' stop.
Would be appreciated.
One thing I did like. I'm glad that Braun Strowman, they got rid of that stupid ass like army like Under Armour t-shirt,
Dude, shredded.
That looked good.
He is
he looks great. And it goes to show you that this is a man who was Universal Champion, and I'm going to objectively say was good as Universal Champion. He was better on the mic. He was, and then somehow he went against the Fiend and just lost all character. And since then, he's been crap.
I don't know, but ever since then, he went to the gym. He's more shredded than Julian Sal, man.
He looks great. He does.
Any tips?
Yeah.
So you see down below, we got the updated rankings there.
Yeah. So the updated rankings, that gives Nick what?
I'm up to 2.
You're up to 2.
Nick's got 3.
I got 3.
Nick's got 4.
I'm at 3.
I have 2. You have 3, and
Megan's at 2.
Megan's at 2. So me and Megan are bringing up the rear, and Nick's just running away with this.
You're doing what?
Telling everybody where you're at.
Get your money out of the gutter.
All right.
It's stiff and hard back here, so yeah.
Wait. Wait a goddamn.
Wait.
All right. So anyway, the next match stole the damn show. I'm calling it now.
This surprised the. I don't think this. I'm not gonna
It's
say
not
this
the match
show,
of the
but
night. It is not the match of the night. But
this
it stole the night.
This by far coming up here, what Jamie's going to talk about, I agree with him 1,000%. And like I said before, but I mean even much more on this than any other match that I'll talk about for the next 6 months. Surprised the living piss out of me. Oh my God.
Yes. So it was Miz and Morrison coming out to Hop. Whatever. Hey, hop hop.
They're terrible song. They had like 30 people like Bad Bunny.
Yeah, good bunnies.
Terrible bunny costumes.
Yeah, good bunnies. So they come out, and then Damian Priest comes out by himself, and then they have a big long intro of Bad Bunny. He's Bad Bunny, riding on
you
the
did
top
to yourself.
of.
I like that.
Yeah, on the back of a Mack truck. On the trailer. So he came in. It actually looked really cool, and he's coming out to his music. He came out to Booker T. For all of you Bad Bunny fans, it's Bad Bunny.
He was on commentary. Booker T was on commentary.
He sure was for that one. So I had low expectations for this. But we
so low.
Yeah. So funny thing on this one, all of us except for Nick picked Bad Bunny and Priest. So this is where we could get back. I think this is where we can get back.
I just want to know, before you get into the match, Nick, if you could shed a little light on what were you thinking when you picked Miz and Morrison over a celebrity that's gonna only do one match in WWE?
Well, if there's anything I'm certain of, it's that Vince McMahon hates me, and I am not a Morrison Miz fan, so I just felt he was likely to punish me by making them the winners. That was my thinking.
That's very interesting mindset.
That's decent rationale. All right. So this match, again, surprise to Shemmy, and it's not like because Damian Priest did something amazing. It was all about Bad Bunny. I'm sorry. Bad Bunny
Dude,
showed
he
out.
did great.
He showed out, man.
He actually can wrestle. I could not believe it.
Yeah, like
I wanted to give him a hug afterwards.
Yeah, like
I was like, oh, wow,
some
dude,
good
welcome.
punches at the Miz because he started off with the Miz. And he actually threw a couple punches, did some things, and then he hit a Hurricane Rana on him. As soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, you have my attention. Okay. Then, another one of his big spots is he jumped out, did the flying. Oh, what's that move called again? What's that move where you jump and you turn sideways? What's that?
But they call it the Flying Bunny. I don't know what it's called originally.
I think it's called a crossbody.
Oh, that's right. Cross body. Across the body.
So we'll come back to that crossbody here in a little bit. So he did that, but the move of the night, this one got Jamie excited. Nipples got hard.
It should have. It was
on the outside of the ring on Morrison, and Bad Bunny did a freaking Canadian destroyer, a bunny destroyer on Morrison, and it looked so damn good.
Like he set up for it, and I go, okay, what's he gonna do? Like a power bomb? Okay, that's cool, whatever. Holy shit, he did a Canadian destroyer.
Yeah, when he did it, like my house, like
what the fuck?
We got home late from from softball. And we're there, and like he hits it. I'm like, oh my god! And everybody's like, what's going on? I was like, he just hit a Canadian destroyer. Did you not see that?
A Puerto Rican rapper hit a Canadian destroyer. It's like, oh my god! And it's just that was by far the highlight. But he did all sorts of stuff, and he took shots, he took bumps. He sold. I mean, I give it up for Bad Bunny. Him and Priest did a double. What's his little like spinny? Like Priest does that little like suplex spinny. It's kind of like a Falcon Arrow-esque.
Yeah, tandem spinning Falcon Arrows.
It's close. It's a little bit different. It's not quite with the cradle, but it's He did moves. He did all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they said he's working out, and
he took it.
Kudos
seriously.
to Bad Bunny. Kudos to Bad Bunny.
He's welcome on my TV anytime now.
Yep.
Also, that something else that dropped today was his new Corona commercial with Zoe Saldana. But just whatever.
Plus, he has a tour they announced with Triple H on a commercial throughout today. So.
No, Triple H is not going to be in there, but he
was part of the announcement commercial.
So so they hit the stereo Falcon Arrows, the Canadian Destroyer, but it ended with like almost like a Doomsday Device style action where Priest had Morrison on his shoulders, and Bunny did another flying crossbody for the 1, 2, 3. Your winners, Bad Bunny and Damian Priest.
And I actually liked it.
I love this match.
I did too.
I can't say anything bad about it. I love this damn match.
And Damian Priest apparently is still hurt. Like, he wrestled his match hurt, which is why Bad Bunny got 75% of the airtime. And when Priest was in there, he pretty much straight, was on offense when he was in there. So because he was still hurt, so he did all of his moves. But he was it was mostly Bad Bunny, and he did amazing.
It was crazy.
Who
knew? I'm excited. I'm grateful actually that he has set the bar for a celebrity match.
Yes,
to a whole nother level.
he has redeemed the celebrity thing for me. Now I know that's a high expectation we're setting up for the future, but he's redeemed it for me, at least for the time being. Kudos, Bad Buddy.
Yeah.
Golf clap to you.
Yeah, he did phenomenal. So we have up next, they go over the 2020 class of the WWE Hall of Fame. So,
Yay.
Yeah.
This is when you go to the bathroom, right?
Yeah. The big thing was NWO. I mean, they had some other guys in there, but NWO was
the old world order. I mean, except for Six or X-Pac. Six because it's NWO.
Scott Hall
Six
was
Pac.
looking rough.
Scott Hall, he was looking old. He's thankfully got out
Old,
of his addiction
is
stuff,
a
but
better way to
he was
put
looking old. Kevin Nash looked old, and then they just all looked old except for X-Pac or Six.
Yeah, old Six Pac. That's why he became X-Pac, because that's what his name was in WCW.
Because you couldn't have the same name.
Yeah,
so
Six Pac. So then he went over. Then he was X-Pac. So he kept the Pac, whatever. All right.
Anyway,
So moving right along to the main event of night one, and it was by far the best match of the night. Might have been the whole entire thing, in my opinion.
Of WrestleMania.
Of WrestleMania,
Yes.
yeah.
Of the whole week, no. But
No, not of the whole
Yes.
week. Of WrestleMania, this by far, in my opinion, was the best match. It was a 5-star match. I thought it had everything. It had everything I wanted, and it was great. And that's Sasha Banks, the champion, versus Bianca Belair. So I'm usually not one to talk about attire, because this is kind of something I don't do. But Sasha Banks coming out with blue and green hair and
I didn't like her look either.
Black-
It didn't look like her, right?
No. Then I'm on the completely other side of you, because I loved it.
I thought it was cool myself.
Yeah, and then the black spandexy type look thing, because she usually doesn't do that. She usually has a matte finish. It was more of the shiny style, with the green laces and stuff. It looked badass. I was all over it.
I prefer her like monotone, where she's all purple or all blue, or I don't know.
I enjoyed it.
I wasn't a big fan of it personally. Picks before you get too far into it.
Yes,
by the way.
no. I just wanted to talk about that before we
Okay,
go.
okay. So I want to make sure.
So right now, Nick and I are tied at 4. You have 3. Megan has 3. So this one, we could make a lot of headway here. So Bianca Belair was the choice of JJ, myself, and Megan, and Nick had Sasha. So there's a good chance I could pull out in the lead, and then everybody else is at 4. Or Nick's out to a commanding lead. We'll find out, won't we? Let's all learn together, shall we? So this match just starts off very emotional. I really want to talk about that. So at the very beginning, the fans are amped. This is the loudest I've heard any kind of real fans in a while, honestly. I mean, Revolution.
The biggest pop of the night was this match, for real.
Revolution had loud fans for AEW. I think these guys might have been louder because obviously there's more people there. But the
it's hard to tell too, because you're outside and they're in full capacities. It is hard to gauge how loud, but of the night, this by far was the biggest pop.
They felt hot. So Bianca Belair started to get really emotional, because she was main eventing, and you could see her she's wanting to cry a little bit, and Sasha was smiling at her a little bit, and then she started doing her "I'm the boss" talking shit thing, which I loved to kind of get it back in, and then they started going at it.
I mean, hell, even Michael Cole starts it off talking about this and it's something it didn't really hit you, but he gives you that whole black girl magic thing, like I made a joke of, months ago. But this is the first time 2 black women have main evented a pay-per-view. Yeah, and it washed over you for a second, and you're like, oh yeah. So there's a lot of historical weight on this, if you think about it.
And they showed out. And if anybody,
it was the match that we wanted to see.
Yes.
We bitched about the setup. Setup was terrible for this match. But man, the match was great.
It's like the reverse of the Shinsuke Nakamura AJ Styles back in the day, where the setup was great, but the match ended up being a dud. This is the exact opposite.
Exact opposite.
So we all know Bianca Belair is an amazing athlete, and she's incredibly strong. Well, that was on full effing display in this thing. So there was a couple big moves that I'd like to really, really talk about. So there is she's got tons of great athleticism, but there is a spot where Sasha Banks did a suicide dive through the top and middle rope and landed right on Bianca Belair. But Bianca Belair ended up rolling it up kind of John Cena fashion, and then she just straight gorilla pressed her up to the top, and then you're like, okay, she's gonna throw her. Oh no. She legit walked her happy ass up the steps with her still up on top and then threw her in the ring. Like that was
it was a good like 2 minutes of her holding her that high in the air. It was stood up with her and then walked to the steps, up the steps, and then kind of across the apron a little bit and then threw her in. Like, wow.
Yeah, so then at that point I think Sasha was a little shocked, maybe a little scared, because then she started trying to pull Bianca's hair a lot, and Bianca would just rip her into her and just do like short arm, like Arn Anderson style, or not Arn Anderson, but like Jake Snake Roberts short arm clotheslines, and just just doing all those things and trying to use her hair against her, and man, it was just lots of good stuff there. Bianca Belair at that point had strong advantage, tried to do a 450 splash that looked amazing, and it was even better because Sasha was able to get her knees up, and it looked brutal. It looked like it hurt so bad. They sold the shit out of both of them. It was absolutely great. But the Banks was able to get her knees up for the counter. Later, Bianca was able to hit a series of power bombs. Like she picked her up like it was nothing, like a rag doll, and that was like 10 minutes into the match. Like boom, boom. I was like, what is going on? She hit her twice, and then Sasha tried to do like some kind of submission, so she redid it, got her back up, hit her for another one for a high angle attempt at a pin, got a count of 2 at that point. Then after that, Banks followed up with a tornado DDT, which was a double tornado DDT. I don't know if everybody saw that. Like she spun, got onto the ropes. She started in the corner, started off there, went to the ropes, and did another full revolution right on the ground with her. And then she got her typical Banks frog splash because her and Eddie Guerrero. It was. Oh man! And then she wrapped Belair's hair around her and used her hair for the bank statement. I thought that was really damn cool.
She did. I mean, we have a prop like that. It can get overkill, but she did in a very astute way. Fit the character, fit the heel part of what she was doing, and it didn't look like a cheesiness of like, oh, I'm gonna use your big old ponytail against you. It worked. It worked for this match for sure.
Yeah, and Banks was getting very frustrated because like she finally got the upper hand and Belair just wouldn't go, just wouldn't go away in the night. She tried to do a backstabber a couple times, wouldn't work. She's just getting frustrated. Then she ran to the corner to do a knee strike, but Belair moved out of the way. Then at that point, Belair was able to get up, hit the 450 splash on her for a 2 count. And then
which she looked decimated by afterwards. It was like she sold the piss out of that. Bianca did, the heartbreak,
Yeah. So then for that, and then she was going for the KOD, the kiss of death. But then Banks grabbed her hair again. Then finally, Belair's like, F it, and then used her hair as the whip like she used to do at NXT.
This is the most vicious whip I have ever seen her do.
It sounded like a gun going off. It's like crack. And I'm like, oh,
they echoed. That. It echoed throughout the. I know but it sounded like it echoed throughout the stadium. It was. So Bianca or Sasha had a legit 6-inch welt on her side.
Yeah.
After the match.
So funny thing is, it sounded like they added sound to it. So the reports are they did not do it. That was the legit sound of it.
I don't doubt it.
It was
honest to God.
instant red line right there, and then she was able to hit the KOD for the win. So we have a brand new women's champion. I think we all knew it. Bianca Belair is your new.
Well, Nick didn't know it, but
yeah. So that puts me in the lead at 5, and everybody else is at 4.
I know it came up. We're all right there because it didn't start off that way, But that's the way. So many matches. That's the way it goes. Nick, what did you think of this match in night 1 altogether?
Very pleasantly surprised. I was pleased. I wasn't. I was definitely blown away by Bad Bunny. He was the highlight of the night for me.
Okay, yeah.
But I had a good time. It was a good night.
So, if WWE would just do this all the time,
let me say this. There's one thing that I greatly appreciated is that the matches were clean. There wasn't really any shenanigans at all, and that's WWE's staple. So it was refreshing.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great point, and that's actually one of my. I have it down here as one of my big points for the whole thing, but I'll say it now because this night, and then I'm gonna get into night 2 in just a second, guys. But we take it back. They had a little short promo set up, before. Because it's WrestleMania, they always do that. A little bit history. Not terribly long, but you didn't have promos. I think you had because you don't. It's all matches. It was straight up there. You had a little bit of promo here and there with a little Titus O'Neil and Hulk Hogan with Bailey behind this, whatever. Yeah. But they didn't have a lot of filler. They had just a little bit of filler. The matches you said were all clean. You didn't have all this gobbledygook getting in the way, even though it wasn't like there's nothing comical. The women's tag match was probably the low point of match wise, but it wasn't as far as WWE standards go. What's been doing, it wasn't by far the worst match that's been put on in the last 3 months. So they actually had a focus on wrestling. What a novel freaking concept, At WrestleMania, the focus is on wrestling. That's what I like to see. That's why this was so good, in my opinion.
Agreed. So that's night 1. JJ, my friend, are you ready to go over night 2?
I am ready. So if you're watching us, you see down below. So to give an update, like Jamie said, we have Nick at 4, JJ at 4, Megan at 4, and Jamie's in the lead with 5. So we're all right there. We could go anywhere. We got 7 matches to plow through here. So of the 2 nights, I would say night 1 is probably the overall better night, but night 2 was not bad. This was by far, and we'll get rankings when I'm done here, but this is by far, the best pay-per-view WWE's put on in quite a while, and that's saying quite a bit.
And honestly, I think the fans have a lot to do with that.
I think it's they couldn't screw this up. Let's be honest. They could not screw this up because it was that. So, anywho, you start off. You have some country chick singing "America the Beautiful." I don't know who's whatever. Some chick.
She was, yeah.
I don't listen to country. I hate country. If you like country, sorry for you. And then you have a little Titus O'Neil and Hulk Hogan coming out in their pirate gear, whatever. So then you start off with, and I didn't expect this to start either on night 2, but you have Randy Orton versus the Fiend to start. So. This is the hopeful, knock on wood, culmination of this feud. We're all so ready for this to be done, right? We're so ready for it to be done. So Orton comes out first, and there's a little video promo where Fiend's kind of going through a tunnel or whatever. He's in his melty, bit, and then he burns away, and it's the old school Fiend-ish. So
yeah, he's no longer extra crispy. He's original.
He's original, but with a little bit different. And then you have the Firefly Funhouse music, and out comes Alexa Bliss, and she walks all the way down the ring, and there's a giant Jack in the Box, which she does a little thing on the side, pulls a crank, and then Fiend's music starts, and then up pops a pentagram door, which I just love to use pentagrams because that's so against the PG rating if they really think about it. But
oh yeah.
the little door opens up, and then out comes the Fiend. He got the original Fiend mask, the original Fiend pants. He has a long sleeve like shirt with like a little like vesty sort of thing that he had when he was extra crispy, but it's a little bit tighter. He looks like the Fiend like we knew. I'm glad, because while I didn't mind the whole extra crispy melty Fiend, I don't want to see that as your Fiend every day. This gives me hope as also that we'll see maybe in the near future Bray Wyatt again, the actual Bray Wyatt, Sweater Wyatt character. So, anywho, the match was done in red light, which pissed JJ off.
It pissed me off too.
I can't stand the red light thing. I just can't. I don't get it. It's like, why? It's so bad to see. I understand it's part of the mystique, and you're doing this whole, we did such a good job night one of focusing on wrestling, and now we're getting back into cinematic crap.
Before you get in there, you gotta go over picks, my friend.
I will. I'm sorry. I told you I do this all the time. Yeah. So all right. So for this, we were Nick picked Randy Orton, and the rest of us picked the Fiend. So Nick was thinking a little different. We all thought for sure the Fiend was going to get there, and Nick's like, "Nah, Randy Orton, son." So let's see what happens. So it starts off looking like Nick's going to be dead wrong, because it's all Fiend, old school Fiend, just going to it. He's just doing it. Randy Orton like power slams him onto like the announce table. Fiend gets immediately gets up and goes into a mandible claw, like all the old school V1 Fiend things. He's doing that. The red light pisses me off, but the actual moves, whatever, it's fine at all. So they keep going back and forth a little bit. It's mostly the Fiend. He's just wreaking havoc on Randy. And then he gets to the end point of it. So he sets him up with a mandible claw, then turns him around and is going to do his Sister Abigail. Gives him a kiss on the head, and then you get cane fire coming out of the four corners. And there's Alexa Bliss sitting on top of the Jack in the Box, which has been by the ring the whole time, right? So she's sitting on top of this, and she's in this like really gothic looking black lacy dress thing with a barbed wire crown of thorns, and she's like spewing and dripping this black blood ooze from her forehead all over the place. I think, this is a guess, my estimation is that she is morphed into Sister Abigail.
Yes, because she reached out to him. She reached out to him. He reached back, and then he abandoned Randy to reach back. Right? Yeah, he's all mesmerized, and of course Randy then does the little like turn around RKO, gets a win, gets the pin, and then leaves. Because like I would too. Like fuck, I'm out of this shit. So, but Randy Orton gets the win. So for Long Burn, I love this because we've all said that we wanted her Sister Abigail.
Wanting that. We've wanted this.
We've been waiting for Sister Abigail for like 4 years.
True. Yeah. Like remember when we thought it was going to be Liv Morgan, right?
Yeah.
Remember we thought it was going to be Liv Morgan with her old comeback, and then so that I'm happy with. Okay, I'm happy with that bit. And then of course after the match is over, he's staring at her. She looks disappointed in him. The whole like lights fade to black, and then comes back on. And they're both gone, just gone.
And then my favorite part about that, right after that, boo!
The fans were a lot more vocal on night two. I gotta say, the fans were very appreciative, supporting on night one. On night two, they let WWE know some specifics, so they were not happy with the way that ended. I agree with you both, though. I like the payoff of Sister Abigail. I don't like the way it was done necessarily in this match, personally.
Yeah, it could have been done differently. And I do like the Fiend's entrance. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was. It was cool.
It was cool. It was real cool. And I am willing to give this more time. Like I was right there. You both
I'm
were
willing
like
to give it a little more time because they've taken a lot of liberties so far.
I was like one toe left on the ship, and I was ready to jump with you guys. But I'm like, okay, I'm back on.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of like right with the gate open. I might go because I'm glad that we see Sister Abigail. I'm glad the Fiend is the way the Fiend is, so he's not just going to be a figure. It's all Alexa carrying this shtick. Get rid of Randy. Be done with that. Do your own thing. We'll see on Raw. We'll see what happens next coming week.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 2 more pay-per-views. That's how much I'm going to give it. 2 more pay-per-views.
I might like seriously, if it doesn't get to a point, like I might just Billy Zane it and grab a kid and hop on one of those lifeboats and not jack the person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're close. So overall, this wasn't terrible. The match was okay, but like I said, it wasn't quite the same start as as night one of getting a glash yeah. So it's a little bit different, but as you see below, Nick actually grabbed a point up because of that, because he's the only one that picked Randy Orton. So
you know why?
Why?
Because I didn't know exactly what was going to happen, but I knew that they were going to screw it up somehow. Because I was glad to see old Fiend back. I was really glad to see that. Sister Abigail was cool, but I just knew they were going to do something dumb that would be infuriating. Well, not infuriating. That's a little strong, but I knew they were going to do something like what they did. That's why I went with RKO.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, we'll wait and see what happens with this. So we're going to move right along, though. So the next match that we have is the Women's Tag Team Championship match. So the winners from the night before, which is Natalya and Tamina, going off against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Now, this is very similar if you listen to our TakeOver pay-per-view. Since we didn't know who Nia and Shayna's opponents are going to be, is basically our picks are going to be Nia and Shayna versus the field. So Nick took Nia and Shayna to retain, and myself, Jamie, and Megan, we all chose the field. We're all like, whoever wins night one is going to win night two. Because that's the way we went with. So Natalya and Tamina, they come out. Shayna and Nia come out. Sans Reginald. Thank you, Jeebus. Thank you. That made me so happy.
It made my heart hurt a little bit.
Oh, so this was actually a surprisingly good match. Now, Shayna to me was the MVP of this match because she went back to like her NXT Shayna. She was doing some manipulation on Natalya's ankle that made me uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah,
she did the whole remember she did that arm thing, like broke Dakota Kai's arm. She did that to Natalya's leg. She bent her ankle back and then stomped on the ankle. It looked good and vicious, and I love to see that because Shayna at times had been buried and she's getting a good push, but it felt comical because of their situation. It's good to see the killer Shayna back. Mm-hmm. A lot of this match focused on Tamina and Nia because let's be honest, Tamina is the closest in size wise to challenging
and
Nia
their
Jax.
relatives.
They're like third cousins or something like that.
Third or
I don't
second
know
cousins, something like that. It's a big
something
family.
like that. Whatever. They're Samoans. If you know anybody that's in the Samoan family, you know that they got big families. It's just how it is. So they are related. And at one point in time, Tamina actually does do a power slam of Nia. Now, it's kind of like the Hulk Hogan power slam of
I thought the same thing.
Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
It was a little bit less because it was very much not a full pickup. It was power slam. She got her up, got her almost like horizontal, and then dropped her down. It was very close. It was even less than Hogan did.
Nia did her no favors. Nia did her no favors. Did not jump into it.
Did no favors. Nia was actually spouting off real good trash talk that he picked up because you had 25,000 people in a 60,000 or 60,000 seat venue. You actually got quite a bit of the people still, the wrestlers on the mic during the match. They could hear. It was a good mix, to be honest with you, of hearing the wrestlers plus having an actual crowd. So you actually hear Nia trash talking quite a bit through this match, which I like that kind of like arrogant, mean Nia because her moveset is, and it's always going to be that big. It's going to be small. So, back and forth. It ends up getting at the end. There's a sharpshooter attempt on Nia, and she actually locks it in. So Natalya gets the shooter on Nia Jax, and as she turns her over, like the second she turns her on her stomach, here comes Shayna, who's actually the legal competitor. She didn't see the tag. When she was in the corner, she didn't see Shayna tag in. So here comes Shayna tagging in, jumps on her back, does the Kirifuda clutch. She taps out. Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, retain your tag team championship. So Nick go against the grain again, gets the victory. And overall, I think that at the end of the day, the result's the exact same, right? Against the team that were like whatever going for it. But I thought that overall, these 2 nights, the women's tag team had some good showing. This was a much better match than I thought it was going to be, to be honest with you.
Agreed.
It is what it is, Now, does JJ want to see the Riot Squad take that? Absolutely. Does JJ want to see a more comprehensive tag team picture than just Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler? Yes, please. I'm not holding my breath, but we'll see what happens in the weeks to come. But whatever. Well, if you're looking at our score below or you want to hear an update, this is when JJ officially gets eliminated. Because going forward, me and Nick differ on 1 match in our picks, and I am 2 behind him as we speak. So I am now mathematically eliminated from getting this title away from Megan's little grimy hands. So I couldn't think of any other adjective. Sorry, Megan, but I'm mathematically eliminated. Megan and Jamie are in because their picks are a little bit different. But where we sit at is Jamie still sitting at that 5 spot. Megan still sitting at that 4 spot. And yes, sir, here is Nick with a big old 6. So
out in the lead. Let's
out
go.
in the lead. And here was a match that we bitched and whined about because we saw it before, right, at a big pay-per-view. And I'm going to say it right here. This, to me, was one of the best matches of night 2. It was Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. And, of course, you had, Logan Paul's over, in Sami's corner or whatever. But Zayn versus Kevin Owens. And after a little short kind of, typical start to this match. Oh, picks. We all picked Kevin Owens. Let's keep it simple, okay? There's no variation here. Several of the matches coming up here were clean sweeps for our picks, FYI. So we all picked Kevin Owens. It started off very much like the feud that's been going on. It was just kind of, it was whatever. It wasn't that great. And Sammy's complaining about the ref and stuff. And then about 5 or 8 minutes in, something like that, it just switches, and it goes back to that match from 2016 that they had at, was it Mania or SummerSlam or whatever it was?
It was Mania, I think.
I thought it was Mania, but it just switched and went back to that. And they just started going off on each other, and they started doing all the spots. Blue Thunder bombs. There was, big things from the top rope. There was, just left and right, pop-up power bomb, just going at each other, and it was very good. It's very reminiscent of why we like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens from, before, because what they did in NXT, what they did before they got to WWE World in the promo, in the Indies, it was a very good back and forth. It ended up coming to the end where there was a haluba kick by Sami Zayn. He then went for another haluba kick, but they got super kicked by Kevin Owens. And then Kevin Owens started trash talking him. You did this to yourself. This is all your fault. Super kicks him again, then does a stunner. 1, 2, 3, gets the victory. We're all right. Kevin Owens wins.
Yay.
So it was a better match. It was a better match than we thought. I thought it was going to be a stinker, and it wasn't. It was a decent match. After the match, yeah.
I got to admit,
Go ahead.
I kind of started dozing off in this one because
you did?
This is the same exact match from 4 years ago.
It was. No, that it was still a good match, but yeah, you're right. It's like you're watching the same movie, but it's updated. You're watching like
the
you
Zack
do like a
Snyder
Hollywood
version.
thing. Yeah. Well, I haven't seen the Snyder version, so I can't comment to that.
Well, if
But
if that's
you're
the
not
case,
a
this
DC
match
guy
would have
anyway.
been
You
4
don't
hours
get
long.
Right. You're saying it's okay. It's like watching Doctor Strange, thinking that it's different than Iron Man. Technically, yes, but not really.
Good way to put it.
Fair.
Because a rich guy goes on hard times, comes out. It's basically the same thing, but just a little bit different. Now, after the match, they got to have that payoff with Logan Paul, and this is the one thing I liked about Logan Paul being there. He got his ass booed like a mother. He got booed so much, and then he tries to raise KO's hand, and Logan and Sammy goes off on him. Just walks out and leaves him there, and then Kevin Owens just kind of like looking at him like, what the hell are you doing, man? Whatever. And so he raises him as Kevin Owens slow sells it and then does a stunner on him and a big pop from the crowd. So crowd hates Logan Paul as much as we do. So that was nice.
That was nice.
Yeah, and then next you got Riddle versus Sheamus. There was a quick little spot backstage where Riddle's scooting around, runs into RVD and
Great Khali.
Great Khali. Couldn't remember his name. Great Khali. The thing I got out of that is that RVD is shielding his branded rolling papers now.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
We've totally gone away. We don't matter no more. So great. We all picked Matt Riddle to retain on this. That is our pick. Okay. This is a match that me and Jamie were talking about the other day. That this could be that surprise match. That could be a really good match. And it was. I don't think this was like. It's not the best match of Mania. It might be up there for the night though. It was a really good match. It wasn't a terribly long match, but it was a good match. And you know both these guys can put on good stuff. Like we talked about in the past, Riddle and Sheamus individually in their matches, they could put on a good show, and they put on a decent show here. Riddle starts off. He's got the Evil Knievel outfit on, by the way, which I just. Like his shtick it's cute and whatever, but whatever. I'm kind of over the like overtly stoner thing. It's like, come on, man.
You like scooters, bro?
Scooter can go, okay. But there's great back and forth, spots left and right, all over the place. I could talk about all the different stuff going on here, but it was just a very good match. There was very good back and forth. Sheamus looked very strong. Riddle, this is the part where I don't like the whole like fake stoner thing, because Riddle, when he gets in the ring, he like flips the switch. He turns into this just like MMA god, right? That doesn't fit the stupid stoner guy, you know? He's a chill dude. Like him in NXT was the perfect amount of stoner, right? Because he never really dug into it and placated as much as he does in WWE now. He was just a chill guy, but he just flips that switch and just goes bonkers. And he did that. It ends though. He goes for a second rope backflip. So he goes up to go back and do a backflip onto them. And Sheamus counters with a bro kick, which is a kind of a modified bro kick because he has to get like full extension. And just busts him right in his lip. and
did.
Drops him straight down. He's got a busted lip, bleeding all over the place now, Riddle is. And Sheamus gets the pin. 1, 2, 3, he's your U.S. champion now. Did not expect that.
Yeah, and who did we all pick?
Bro.
We all picked Riddle. So
Yes.
There's no points gained on that one for us.
No points.
Now, I suspect it's going to be a quick turnaround for Sheamus. My guess is that Drew McIntyre has a new belt he'll have on his waist in a month's time, but we'll see.
Why would they do that? Like, we've already seen that. Like, get a new feud.
Jamie, you know that's what's going to happen.
Know that's what they're going to do. You know that's what they're going to do. Either they're going to rehash this for the next pay-per-view or they're going to do that. You know that's going to happen. Are we going to get something different, like somebody else coming in the picture? I don't know. Ricochet, maybe. No. You know they're not going to do that. You know they're not going to do that.
This is what we're going to do.
They've been friends their whole
Take it for what it is.
lives.
This was a very good match, okay? So once again, Mania, good matches. We'll bitch about the crap that they do with this when they get to that point.
Yeah, because when we get on Bruce Pritchard's show, Bruce Pritchard's got to say something about it.
You know he's going to do that. But until then, stay with where we are. So another good match. So a pretty solid card that's been going on, night two. And the next one, next one I have mixed feelings about. So it's Big E versus Apollo for the Intercontinental title in a Nigerian drum fight. Now, we all picked Big E to win, except for Megan, who picked Apollo Crews to win. And, Big E comes out. He's got Wale doing his entrance theme, and that's cool and all. Whatever. And then the match starts. It's comical because they have drums set up around actual drums around the entire ring. There's a gong out there, bunch of kendo sticks and tables and all that. But they get going at it. And if you like weapons matches and spots like that, you would have liked this match because there was a lot of it. They just went to town with the candlesticks on each other. The gong came into play. There was actually a really sick move that they're on the apron. They had like the steps taken apart, so they had the lower half of the steps right below it, and Big E does a uranagi of Apollo onto the steps. That was very solid, very strong. So big dive by Big E. Big E was putting all out for the fans, obviously. So that's all good. Eventually, though, there's a table that's put up in the ring, and Paul, Big E sets up the table, so of course he's not going to be the one using that. He gets put onto the table by Apollo. Apollo goes for a frog splash. Big E rolls out of the way. Apollo goes through the table. And then, so up to this point, I was actually liking this match. I'm like, hey, this is actually for the same. We've seen this match. I know we've seen this feud 15,000 times in the past 2 months. I get that, but this match in itself was pretty good. And then here comes the interference by none other than Dabba-Kato. Really? The dude from Raw Underground, Dabba-Kato, wearing like a African militant general's jacket or some crap like that. He attacks Big E, does some weak ass hit spot on him, and then Apollo comes in, gets the pin. He is your new Intercontinental Champion. Why? You're going so good. You had 2 really good matches in a row. The women's tag team, you had 3 pretty good matches in a row. You weren't getting too crazy with the shit. And then they do this crap. And it's like...
Dude, I wanted the Nigerian thing to be over so bad.
I know. Which is funny at the beginning of the match. Like I said, you could hear them talking. You could hear the 2 of them going at each other. And Apollo's using his normal voice. It's like, just stop with this, He's now hailing from Nigeria. His spear is getting more. I swear, it's getting bigger every week, right? Am I wrong in that?
No, you're not.
It just got a big old teardrop on one end. It just all right. Well, so Dabba-Kato is now apparently his Nigerian general of some shit. I don't know. Whatever. Then you go into the Megan got a point on that because she saw the future. Great, good for her. So her and Jamie are tied. They're 1 point behind you there, Nick, and I'm still eliminated. So then we got the 2021 Hall of Fame class recognition. That's cool and all. That's great. Whatever. And then we have Asuka versus Rhea Ripley, which...
Yeah.
You know what? It was a match. This could have been a better match. It was whatever. We all picked Rhea Ripley to win and get the title. So... We're all on the same page there. So it comes out. Rhea Ripley has New Year's Day. The band,
that was cool. I wasn't expecting that.
Had Ash Costello singing her entrance music. That was cool. They didn't really do the super outlandish. I think Bad Bunny had the most kind of biggest entrance thing. There was a couple artists performing entrances for them. Miz and Morrison did a little bit with their extras, but there wasn't the typical massive over the top WrestleMania entrances, which I'm not gonna lie, I didn't mind. I was kind of that's cool. So
yeah, because Triple H didn't have a match.
Oh, yeah. Triple H, he got to go all out. John Cena wasn't there, and so yeah, you didn't have typical guys who do bonkers ass whatever. But anyway, it was cool. She had entrance in there. This match was not that long. It was slow to start. It didn't have a good flow to it.
No.
This has been 2 weeks of build up, and this is your whatever. Rhea Ripley ends up getting the win. And that's about all I really want to say on this match because I just wasn't feeling it.
There wasn't much to it. There really wasn't anything to talk about.
The build-up wasn't there. The match itself was not bad, but it wasn't great either.
Whatever.
It was
no.
Yeah, it was.
It was just whatever. So Rhea Ripley's there. Spoiler alert, there was no Becky Lynch sighting on either night like it was rumored to be.
Yeah.
I suspect we might see her tomorrow night on Raw.
Yep.
Remember that she is the one who Asuka got the title from originally. Now she feuded back and forth a little bit, right, with Bayley and Sasha. But, I think that now that Asuka has lost it, she's going to go back into being buried on Raw, and maybe you'll have Becky Lynch come back. And we'll see what happens. Hopefully they can do stuff. I don't like the way they've really treated Rhea. Apparently, Rhea sat in catering for like 3 weeks before they pulled her out onto eventually being on Raw. So I don't have high hopes they're going to do anything good with Rhea Ripley like they should. But she's your new Raw Women's Champion, so there's that. All right, so that leaves us with one last match here, and as you see down below, we've got to a fever pitch. Now JJ's still eliminated. I can't win this, Meg. But we have Nick is sitting there with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. We have Jamie right behind him with 7, and Megan tied with Jamie at 7. Now, what does this next match mean? So the next match is the Universal title picture, right? Roman Reigns, Edge, Daniel Bryan, triple threat match for the Universal title. Interestingly enough, if we were all the same on this here, this would be over. This would be game over. Nick would be your winner. But we're not. So I picked Roman Reigns. I said, I'm out of it, but whatever. I picked Roman Reigns. Maybe I can make it respectable. Nick picked Daniel Bryan. Jamie and Megan picked Edge. So we run into the scenario again here. If Edge is your victor, we could have a 3-way tie, and we have to go to our tiebreaker. Just so you are aware, our tiebreaker is the length of the match. We had everybody pick a length of the match, yes. And that's what it is. So I had to sit there with a stopwatch, even though I'm eliminated, watching this damn thing. But I digress.
Oh, I did too.
Oh, you did? Well, thank God I wasn't the only one who did it there, but because I was like logging the stuff on the spreadsheet, I felt like I had to do it, but whatever. So, by the way, the next pay-per-view is no longer Backlash; it's WrestleMania Backlash. They're officially calling it WrestleMania Backlash next month.
Whatever. Sure,
just put WrestleMania in front of everything now. WrestleMania Smackdown, WrestleMania Backlash. There's enough stuff. See, night 2 is where it got back to like typical WWE stuff.
Yeah.
In part. Now, this match, we were. If you've listened to our podcast at all, you know that we are way over this whole thing and ready to be done with this. The build-up's been just like drawn out. It's devoted so much time to the same thing you can say in 5 minutes. They've said in 6 weeks. It's just like, come on. But this was a surprisingly entertaining match. I'm going to say it. If you disagree with me, great. I thought this was much more entertaining than I would have guessed. I was not excited to see Edge wrestle again because I can't stand him being back. Daniel Bryan's whatever. I love Daniel Bryan, but I feel like he's a little past his prime. Roman Reigns has gotten better with this whole heel turn, but I feel like they haven't really done what they could to expose it. They come out. Edge, which the thought was from the brass, the reason that Daniel Bryan's in this match is that Edge is not going to get the pop they wanted. They're going to turn him more heel. They want Daniel Bryan in there to get face pop. Well, Edge got the biggest pop of the 3 coming in. Him and Daniel Bryan were both very much welcomed by the fans. And, singing to my heart, Roman Reigns was not. He was booed still. Things don't change. It was great. He got booed on his way in. He did an Undertaker-esque long entrance, by the way. It was a long entrance. So finally get the match started. And it's just right from the go, triple threat. So Roman starts off hot, throws people outside. Immediately you get, like a minute in, you get Jey Uso super kicking people on the outside. So he super kicks Daniel Bryan. He super kicks Edges. He's just going at it, right? They tear apart the steps. They're doing all this stuff. They've brawled around the outside quite a bit, and each of the 3 gets their spots in. They're doing things. They're doing this. Edge doesn't look terrible. He has some Just for Men, obviously, before this, so he doesn't have the gray showing at all, which I thought was, okay, whatever. That's blatantly obvious, but you do you, boo. He ends up doing a DDT to Jey Uso on the steel steps, which was good to see. It wrote him out of the match for right now. So Jey Uso, taken away by medicals, could be just the 3 of them going at it. And go at it, they did. They did a little bit of everything. Paul Heyman's face was great. They had some shots there where, Roman was in distress, and Paul Heyman was just overselling his face like a son of a bitch. I love me some Paul Heyman. It's great to see. Roman ended up doing a one-arm powerbomb to Daniel Bryan through the announce table to Roman sucks chants. And he was doing a fantastic job of this is why I say about Roman and missing a bit. he was doing a great job of playing to the crowd, like jarring with them. It's like, this is what you want. Talking about him turning heel. This is what you wanted. What do you mean? This is what you wanted. What is wrong with you? You know, just going at it. So it's like, it was a nice little tip of the cap thing there. So that's cool. Then you get Spear Fest. Edge is a spear. Roman tries to spear. They try to spear each other at one point in time, hit their shoulders. Edge spears again, spears more people. Spear.
Dude.
That's what pissed me off for this match.
There was like 4 of them within a minute and a half.
Yeah. Well, here's what pissed me off too, because it was all Edge. Like Roman, like I think that they did the double spear on each other. They tried, but I think there was one spear that Roman Reigns did. All the other spears were
3.
Edge. Well, I know that I missed that on DraftKings. I chose them. I thought they would be tied, so I just picked Roman to have the most spears, and it was definitely Edge had more spears. Edge had that's basically most of his moveset was a spear. So anywho, at one point in time, Edge is doing a crossface on Roman Reigns, and then there was a piece of a chair that had broken. Edge starts bringing chairs in, right? There's a piece of a chair sitting there. So he has a crossface with the chair holding up, and he's going to tap out, and he gets stopped by Daniel Bryan, who then takes that hand and puts the yes lock in on the other side. So they have a double submission going in on Roman at the same time. That looked cool for a hot second, and they, of course, start fighting each other.
They start headbutting each other, and they were like the weakest headbutts.
Yeah, it was like
so bad.
It's like there are parts of this match that looked great, and other parts where it's just like the execution was off there. I blame Edge. I blame Edge for all of it. So at the end, Edge goes, he spears both Daniel Bryan. He spears them both, and then goes to count of 3. Daniel Bryan pulls the ref out of the ring. Edge then he goes on a rampage, and he goes against a bunch of chairs. So he sets them both up to get concertoed, right? So he does a concerto on Daniel Bryan. Here comes Jey Uso coming out of the medical tent or whatever, right? He comes back, stops him. He ends up getting speared by Edge because, you know, that's all he can do, right? And that is enough time for Roman to recover, knock down Edge. He then concertos Edge, puts Edge on top of Daniel Bryan, and then covers them both to get the pinfall victory. Roman wins and retains as your Universal Champion. So,
meh.
You say meh. I said this is better than what I thought it could be by far.
Well,
I thought it was going to be terrible.
It was definitely better than what I thought, but my bar was incredibly low. But it was an average match. I mean, Edge drove me nuts in this match. I bitched about Edge in the past. I don't have the nostalgia for Edge that others do. I just don't. It's like if the Shield had reformed, I could give a flying F about that. You know, same.
It's like there's a certain part of WWE's history that I was just not a fan of WWE. Like I didn't watch it for like 5 years. And guess who was the top guy at the time? CM Punk. That's partially why I didn't watch it. But you know, so it's like Edge. This whole thing. Edge to me was always a guy from a tag team. And as much as you bitch about Christian, I have the same complaint about Edge.
They're the same guy.
Christian, but I knew Christian because he was watching the promotion that I was watching at the time. Edge was just a guy that I'm like, how is he a top guy? He's a tag team guy. What's going on? I missed on that personally. That's why I could care less. Daniel Bryan, I think, is getting a little long in the tooth. No offense, Daniel. You still got. I just worry every time I see Daniel Bryan in a match, especially when there's like chairs and shit involved. It's like one more bad shot to your neck, and you're gonna be in a chair for the rest of your life. That's all I worry about.
Yeah.
And I like this Roman Reigns heel character. I legitimately do. They're just not doing it 100% correct. I think tonight they had some of it corrected, but they could have done more with it. But that's all I'm gonna say.
I think it's time to grow the family. I think that's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Friday.
Please, God. Yes. That I would love. So, as you see down below, I'm the only one who got this match right. So we have a 3-way tie for second place. Your winner and champion of WWE is the man who watches the least amount of WWE wrestling. It is the 9th wonder of the world, Nick.
This is yours.
Yeah. All right.
So you'll see Nick now has that little icon up next to his name. We'll keep that up there for him until we have our next big paper. We don't do this for every WWE pay-per-view because there's one every month, and screw that. So SummerSlam, we'll be back, and we'll do this again for SummerSlam. We'll see if Nick can retain that title or if we're going to pass it along.
So But before we go on, Megan.
Go ahead.
We've officially dethroned Megan out 2 out of 3 belts.
2 to 3. One more, Megan.
So,
we're coming for you next month.
Yeah. So Megan says, this is what she said, quote unquote, I could give a damn about those other 2 belts. I want my AEW belt because that's the prettier belt and it's a good show.
Let's see what happens.
I can't argue with that.
That sounds like somebody who's scorned because she lost 2 titles.
If she had won both of those titles, I think that message would have been quite a bit different. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All right, so let's get into ratings. So we're going to do our rankings here of what we thought. Once again, just we did for TakeOver. We do a night 1, a night 2, and overall. I'm going to go ahead and start us off here. It's my turn to start us off. So, night 1, I was on the fence with 2 different ratings, okay? I kept bouncing back between Spotfest and Squash Fest. I'm like, overall it's probably Squash Fest, but then I was like, but then again, a couple of these matches really got to me and sung to me. There wasn't really a dud the whole night. I mean, the AJ and New Day, that's maybe the worst. The tag team wasn't terrible, and the other stuff was so good. Well, there was a dud. Sorry, Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon. So, but at the end of the day, I went with Spotfest on this. I think Bad Bunny surprising the crap out of me. Lesnar and McIntyre showing up. Cesaro, Rollins.
Lesnar.
I don't even know anymore. Lashley. Sorry.
It's WrestleMania. It's kind of uncanny that he wasn't
here. I'm
there.
trying to keep everything straight.
He'll
Lashley and
tomorrow.
McIntyre showing up. Rollins and Cesaro. As I said, but I mean, at the end of the day, Sasha and Bianca. That's really what brought it up. That made it a Spotfest for me. So it's a Spotfest. Now, night 2, not as good of a night. It was not, but I don't think it was as bad as you guys might think it was. I'm gonna give it a Squash Fest.
Oh.
And overall, so that's right middle of the road. There was some stuff that could be better. There was some stuff that was pretty good. I like some stuff you guys didn't care for, the whole KO and Sami stuff. I liked that match a lot. Nia and Shana, that was a good match. Orton and Fiend wasn't terrible. We'll see what happens. So I'll give it middle of the road. Give it a 3 out of 5. And that means for WrestleMania overall, I'm going to say Squash Fest, right in the middle. High middle because of night 1, but definitely in the middle. Jamie, why don't you go?
Okay. So we're close. We're very close. So night 1, I gave it a Spotfest.
Okay.
I definitely think it was really good. Bad Bunny and the Bianca Belair. I mean, like it's that alone. And honestly, Bobby Lashley did really great. The second night was a snooze fest for me. I just was not feeling it. But overall, it was more middle of the road, and I'm going to give it a Squash Fest.
Okay. So our overall ends up being the same. We're a little bit different on night 2. Yeah. I can see that coming from you based on your responses. So it's not surprising, but that's why we do this. All right. Mr. Ninth Wonder, Mr. WWE pay-per-view champion for Total Spotfest Live. What is your rankings for WrestleMania 37?
Well, I want to give credit where it's due to Bad Bunny. Blew my mind. So, that aside, snooze fest, both nights. I'm sick of seeing these people. I'm sick of
so a 2, and a 2 overall. Okay.
I'm sick of seeing all of them.
With a shout out to Bad Bunny. Okay. But other than that,
Bad Bunny floored me, and it's because I was like, man, what the hell is this dude doing here? And then he was like, this is why I'm here, and I was like, God bless you, man.
You're not wrong.
But
you're not wrong.
There was good wrestling, and there was a lot of positives. We talked about a couple of them earlier. WWE has an upward hill battle of winning back my favor.
I hear you.
So I'm hella biased. I'm not deluded about that. I'm biased as hell against WWE.
Well, I appreciate your honesty. Let's be real. I mean, that's fine. I appreciate your honesty. You're hella biased. I try to be as middle of the road as possible, without being crazy. But hey, to each his own.
I mean, I definitely lean
Oh,
towards AEW.
you lean hard. Shut up. You barely are. You have like you're like me with the Fiend. You have one toe in the door. That's how far you're leaning.
Yeah.
Just saying. But that's why we can have different opinions. It's okay. Regardless, fans back at wrestling. Of course, tomorrow night starts them in their new location of Thunderdome. So. Does that change? Is there going to be people in the stands, kind of like a la WW or NXT tapings, where there's like a small crowd? I don't know. I mean, it is Florida. Florida has different lifted restrictions, so who knows? We'll see what happens as Raw and SmackDown commence. We do want to thank everybody for joining us for our WrestleMania review. Overall, Nick said it was a snooze fest. Me and Jamie right there in the middle say it was a squash fest. I think, though, this is the best pay-per-view WWE's put on in quite a while.
Agreed.
Regardless.
You know what? I agree.
Because there was wrestling. It was actually wrestling.
I agree.
Amazing concept, right? Well, we are going to be back tomorrow, as a matter of fact, with the fallout from TakeOver and the fallout from WrestleMania. We'll also let you guys get in a little update. So starting next week, this week's going to be regular. We're going to have one tomorrow. We're going to have one Thursday. Thursday's going to be our AEW Dynamite review. Next week, we're going to mix it up a little bit. So we're going to give you a little update tomorrow, give you some more details. It's going to still talk about WWE in a little different fashion. So we'll let you in more on that tomorrow as we get going. If you haven't already, listen to the TakeOver review as well as we went into TakeOver. Nick is a lot more positive about the TakeOver review than he was about WrestleMania. We all actually were.
Was he a lot more, though?
Well, okay. He was... His rankings were a little bit higher. It was a slight more. It was a slight more.
A bit.
Slight more. But we listen to that, and if it's your first time checking us out, give us a subscribe down below. Give us a like. If you're following us on those podcast channels, we are on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, check us out on any of our your favorite podcast channel. We do appreciate it. Give the conversation as always. Give us a tweet. Follow us at Total Spotfest. Me and Jamie tweet down below. Let us know, what did you guys think of Mania? Did you think this was a good return to form for WWE? Was this more the same old BS? What were your thoughts? So that's what we got. Mr. WWE pay-per-view champion, why don't you take us, tell the people some comments and gleam them with your belt for a minute.
I'm the champion now. I don't know what else to say. I'm going to retain forever because I know how WWE operates. So
he has found. I'm not gonna lie, man. It looked like you were gonna just walk away with this. I was like, he's destroying us. So, congratulations.
I'm a
champ.
Heyman guy.
All right,
You are a Heyman guy.
all right. Well, well, that's good. Thank you guys for joining us. We will see you soon. Jamie, why don't you take us home?
All right. If you're not down with TSL, I got 3 words for you. It's Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys.
Peace.